As emergency scenarios play out around the world, earthquakes, wildfires, and floods, we're reminded once again that we ourselves are not immune from disaster. Emergency preparedness experts have been telling us for years to have plenty of food and water on hand. But what if things totally hit the fan? What if we have no food or water? What if somebody dies in your home in the middle of a disaster? Recently, Lowell Deo went out with survival guru and author Cody Lundin. He tells us what to do when all hell breaks loose.
I have never felt more petrified going to the supermarket.
Some people shop for supplies, some shop for satisfaction, but Cody Lundin and I are shopping for survival.
So Cody, I'm looking at a bunch of cat food. Is this how we're going to save my life?
Not initially, but eventually I do recommend the Fancy Feast.
The author of the newly released book, When All Hell Breaks Loose, Stuff You Need to Survive When Disaster Strikes, says the difference between surviving the next crisis and succumbing could be on the aisles of the nearest grocery store.
I see chlorine down there. Let's go talk about water disinfection.
From bleach that will help make water safe to drink, to plastic bags that will help you handle a corpse, to rat traps that could provide your next meal. Cody ain't your father's survival expert.
What's the first thing we'd have to do to survive?
The first thing that's key is regulating body temperature.
If Cody looks familiar, you've probably seen him teaching survival tricks on national television shows like Today and Dateline NBC.
This is power.
And you make it look easy.
Now it's your turn.
Yeah, well, now I'll make it look hard.
But Cody is leaving the wilderness behind him, at least for the day. He's in Seattle, getting me ready for the big one.
Okay, here's what I'm talking about. Sodium hypochlorite, 5.2 or 6%, regular household bleach.
Okay. Chlorine is the wonder chemical you need to have close by in case of the next earthquake, volcanic eruption, terrorist attack, or any time your only available water source is contaminated.
And how I would use this is for a 1-quart bottle, which I happen to have a quart bottle right here.
You come prepared, don't you?
I'd use 2 to 4 drops per quart of this and let it sit for 30 minutes. Now,
Cody says a slight bleach smell in your water won't kill you. You need that smell to know that your water's safe. But don't throw that bleach away just yet.
And this is multiple use, Lowell. We can disinfect after a corpse in the front yard. You know, you can use this in your portable potty in the backyard.
Come again?
We can disinfect after a corpse in the front yard.
Cody says when disaster strikes, expect dead bodies. Your survival could depend on how you get rid of them.
Ah, plastic bags. Worth their weight in gold. Let's check these out.
What do we need with plastic bags?
Plastic bags. I mean, multiple use. Again, check this out. Here we have this brand name freezer bags. I can improvise these as mitts. Again, if I'm moving a dead body or dealing with fecal material because of alternative sanitation, I can actually store water in them.
Cody says, don't scrimp. Brand name freezer bags have thicker walls and provide better protection. Oh, and get some lawn and grass bags while you're at it. We'll tell you why in a bit.
Now look at this here. We have this entire picnic area of stuff. Paper plates, paper bowls, paper cups.
In the meantime, Cody finds some items that will save you precious water.
What's going to happen in a disaster situation when you're eating weird food or canned food or whatnot? Water might be at a premium. Water belongs in your body first to regulate core body temperature. It takes a lot of water to do dishes, especially in my country because I'm from the Arizona desert. So just having some picnic supplies on hand where you can get rid of the plates and not have to use precious water that may or may not be disinfected is worth its weight in gold again.
So what goes on those plates?
But check this out. Rice and beans.
Rice and beans may not be glamorous, but they pack complete proteins and carbohydrates for energy. They're easy enough to soak and cook over a backyard pit, and they're cheap.
But this is free food. I mean, what is this? You know, $2-3 for this? And this can feed a family right here for 2-3 days, depending on the amount of people in the family.
But survivors can't live on rice and beans alone. Next on the list are tuna and cooking oil.
So, okay, here's a brand I always get.
Oh, wait. Man, that's in the pouch. That's not going to keep as long. Let's try one of these cans.
I know what you're thinking. Who remembered to stash a can opener? Not a problem, as you're about to see. Besides, this can and some cooking oil are going to shed some light on your desperate situation. Okay, so time for checkout. Almost.
So, looks like the last thing on the list is mouse traps? So I gotta say, I do feel a lot better.
Good, the blood pressure's down. Let's learn how to use some of this stuff.
Remember those lawn and grass garbage bags? Turns out you can use them and bits of old newspaper to make great shelter.
That's pretty good. That's pretty warm.
It's very warm. So
Why is that?
it's dead air space. Dead air space keeps the cocoa hot, keeps the Kool-Aid cold. It's insulation.
And remember that can of tuna I didn't want because there's not a can opener in sight? No problem if you have a rock or chunk of concrete to break the seal. We used the curb right outside the QFC, and 2 minutes later.
Okay, let's see if it's ready. There might be a little bit of grit in our grub, but oh, voila.
And here's the neat thing. Take the empty can, the cooking oil, and some corded napkins, and you've got the makings for an instant candle. Cody Lundeen says preparing to stay alive isn't that hard.
Less than 7% of Americans are prepared for a disaster. Less than 7% are ready for something happening to this country.
He says a little preparation now could save you some uncomfortable decisions later on. Remember the rat traps?
Okay, rat's a lot like duck, except with a delightfully nutty flavor. I think you'd really dig it. Mice, on the other hand...
But this is serious stuff. Cody says if you don't have traditional food, you need to survive. And that means knowing how to prepare a rat.
Kill the rat, skin the rat, just like you would an elk or whatever, and then gut the rat. You can eat all the organ meats. You want to check for the kidneys and the lungs, make sure the rat is healthy, get rid of all the intestines. You'll actually see rat poop up in the body.
Then just cook the rat on a stick over a fire. And don't worry too much about diseases like hantavirus. The fire should kill that. Cody knows you may not do everything he says. That's fine. He just wants you to decide right now what you will do to keep your family alive.
This is basic common sense things that every family should know or have on hand to mitigate a disaster.